Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to study at the regular library and the Mantle Stars and do the adventure. So, let me actually take a quick little peek at what needs to be expanded on. I don't want to get too far into the adventure because, well, I don't want to be saving and resaving and stuff like that. Which I should probably save. So sleuthing. We'll expand botany next. And then the adventure is search the abandoned warehouse. Alright, let's see how this goes. Okay, Owen says, bouncing a little in her excitement. According to the diary, there should be something else here to help us get to the glade. I'll start looking over here. She waves a hand in the general direction of the doorway of the warehouse. If you'll start over here at the back. As she wanders off towards the doorway, humming to herself, you glance around the warehouse. It doesn't look like much. In fact, it looks a good deal less than much. Several sections of the wall look as though they have been used in the past by sailors as a place to leave their swear words when they weren't using them. There's a particularly nice little rhyme on the beam just in front of you, which seems to go on and on about donkeys, mice, pumpkins, and very, very big glass slippers. What? What could possibly be hidden in a place like this? You feel cheated. Any rundown building to do with an adventure should have booby traps and large and pleasant-looking statues ready to move when they're not being watched. About the only thing you can see which bears any kind of resemblance to a statue is an unfortunate-looking sawhorse, which has a leg missing. Oh well, atmosphere or no atmosphere, might as well see what you can find. Give up, there's nothing here. Nah. Sleuthing, always useful. You've got eyes, don't you? Why not try an old-fashioned search? That sounds fine. See if Mr. Pebbles can find anything. He doesn't have eyes. He's useless. See what your astrology. If you want to find something, use a finding spell. Sleuthing. That seems good. Aha! This is just like all those old adventure stories you've read. The ones that your mother keeps trying to confiscate and burn because they aren't suitable for the younger generation. You've read about scenes like this in a dozen times. The intrepid explorer in a quest for something old treasure blessed by Isol or Thudius. What? Creeping through catacombs and erst dungeons, tapping on the walls with one hand while he fights off enraged trolls with the other. That was all nonsense. You swish your battle hand experimentally, and have to admit it looks pretty impressive. Fighting imaginary foes on all sides, you begin creeping around the walls, raping on every likely looking spot. For a long time, all you get in return for your effort is a bruised knuckle and a bit of a headache. But then, just as you're about to pass by a flat section of wall with scrappy writing all over it, you stop. Well, surely it's best to be thorough. You rap gently on the wall. Rap, rap, thud, boom. Wait, what? Rap, rap, thud, boom. As you stare at the wall in surprise, you notice that some of the words are glowing faintly. Porta, ada, cactus, mimus. This could be what you're looking for. In great excitement, you call over Owen, who was in the middle of rooting through a large pile of old stray. Look, I found a needle, she says as she comes over. What have you got? Something better than a damn needle, I'll tell you that much. You point at the glowing words and she drops the needle. Her eyes get very big and flush begins to rise up in her cheeks. Blessed Cavus, do you know what that is? I mean, do you know what it says? What it means? What it... She sputters to a halt, giving you an opportunity to say no. You actually don't know what it says or what it means, but you'd be very happy for her to explain. It's a magical door. One that leads to the wise woods, which is obviously a reference to the trees of knowledge. You nod, obviously. Yes. Do you think that it might lead to the actual original grove? Even if that's all we ever find, it would be an amazing accomplishment. If you ever hear the words "she lit up" again, you know now that you will have a perfect reference. Owen has indeed lit up, almost literally. You check her wand hand. You've heard the stories about excited wizards and the accidents that can happen. Luckily, she seems to just be very excited. You hate to break the mood, but now is the best time to point out that she seems to have overlooked the fact that while this portion of the very respectable wall is labeled at the magic door to the wise woods, it still looks like a wall. So you're going to have to do something to make it open before the celebration starts. Your excellent logic appears to calm Owen down a bit, and she nods seriously. Of course, we have to get this door to open itself. What do you think we should try? You scratch your head, flattered, and also a little nervous to be consulted. Okay, how would the heroes have opened a magic door that didn't even seem to be a door, but was prepared to provide you with glowing messages in a vague, hopeful sort of way? You're at a loss, no? Is there anything nearby that can help? Observation. Any wall like this ought to have some sort of guardian, right? Right. See if you can find it. Well, both of these kind of feel like observation. Like, it'll lead to something else. Let's try observation. Let's see what happens. Any self-respecting hidden wall with a magical hidden door to a legendary hidden forest should have a guide or a guard or a something. You're sure of that. Anything else would break all kinds of rules. So all you need to do is find the guardian, and they might be able to help you open the door. You look around the warehouse uncertainly. Nothing seems to be guardian-ish. No giant golden statues with ruby eyes and sweeping swords ready to cut the unbelievers in half. What is with you and killing people, dude? That's for sure. Finally, you notice a little hole in one of the floorboards at the base of the door. Leaning down, you stick a finger in the hole and pull. Much to your surprise, the floorboards hinges back and easily revealing a small cavity, and in the cavity is a really, really tiny wooden man who seems to be asleep. Okay, then. Is there anything nearby? You look around the warehouse for what seems like the millionth time. Sawdust-covered floor, check. Tattered walls, check. Large, oversized piece of wood, check. Wait a minute. That could be very useful indeed. I maybe shouldn't have clapped. So, athletics is a lot better than diplomacy. So I guess we'll go with athletics. Bash the secret door down with my trusty stick. That's a lot of trust to put into a stick you just found, but whatever. You know exactly what your favorite hero would have done. He was the strong, silent type, never one for using his brains when his fists would do the trick every bit as well. You pick up the big bit of wood and give Owen what you hope is a confident nod. She looks worried. You suppose that seeing a student holding a piece of wood and nodding like an idiot is enough to make anyone look worried. Before she can say something sensible like, "Hey, why don't we try to ram the wall with a broken beam?" You get a firm... Why don't we not try to ram the wall with a broken beam? You get a firm grip on the battering ram and rush at the wall, murmuring a prayer to Octavius. What if it does fail? It won't hurt too much. There's a sort of popping noise, and before you're even sure whether you hit the wall or not, you're lying on the ground with a bit of wood under you. On the other side of the wall, looks like maybe the wall liked the idea of being rammed even less than you like the idea of ramming into it. Rory, Rue, Stephine would be proud. On the other side of the wall is a long, dark tunnel. You peer into it and hear faint, dripping noises like some subterranean monsters sitting out in the shadows and thinking of a lunch. Wonderful. Owen comes over to join you, and the two of you stare at the black, dripping tunnel. You can sense her excitement mounting. You feel pretty excited yourself. A secret tunnel? Secret tunnel. Leading to a legendary secret grove? Anything could happen. This could go down in history of Lumia as a legend of heroic deeds and daring do. As you daydream about the statue that will be erected to your extraordinary archaeologic exploits inside the Academagia, Owen produces a small self-lighting torch and quickly casts the illumination spell. We're going to need to see where we're going, she says happily. Come on, I can't wait to see where this goes. You nod and follow her into the tunnel, your hand on your wand. You don't know whether magic will be any good against whatever's out here, or if anything is out here, but no one ever got messily devoured being too careful. Suddenly, Owen's light flickers out. She mutters something that you politely decided not to hear, and says the spell again. Nothing. She repeats herself louder, and again nothing happens. The dark is beginning to get very dark indeed, and you can't help but feel a little nervous. Several unusual rustling noises come from Owen's direction, and then you feel her grab your arm and lead you back out of the tunnel. She looks flushed and irritated. There's some sort of magic over the tunnel that is quelching the light, she says. We're going to have to find another way to find our way through. Somehow you get the feeling that when she says we, she really means you. Observation. Is there anything in the tunnel that might be affected by the magic? You pop your head back into the tunnel and peer around. Out of the corner of your eye, you see a flicker. Is that a light? In the darkness, you dash towards it, not stopping to let yourself think about the shadows all around you. When you reach the flicker, you discover that it's a small moth of glowing wings, and there are more of them, if you can somehow get them to light up the tunnel. Hey! Glamour methods. Get the moths to light your way. We're doing pretty good. You know what you want to do. You hurry back to where Owen is standing and try to explain your idea to her. She looks more and more confused. So you're going to attract bugs? You look at her and tell her firmly to trust you. You know what you're doing. No, you don't. She still looks skeptical, but spreads her palms in an invitation for you to try. You smile broadly, if a little nervously, and begin preparing the themes for your spell. You figure that Aurora of Commersos should work just about fine. It does. As soon as you cast the attraction spell on the little moth, it and all of its friends stir from their resting place and begin to swirl in the air. Pretty soon they're all around you, you whispering to them what you want them to do, hoping that they understand human speak. They certainly do seem to, for they spread out across the tunnel, casting just enough for you and Owen to see. The best part is that the spell wears off exactly at the same time as you reach the end. At the end of the tunnel, you step out into a small clearing surrounded by broken down old trees and the ruins of what appears to have been the beginning of a construction site. It looks like things ended quickly. Everything is overgrown and most of the plants are too old or too broken. It's a mess, a ramshackle mess, and you can't help but feel quite sad. There's barely any new growth at all here, even though from what Owen has said, all the destruction happened a long time ago. It's like the ground just gave up after the trees were taken away. Owen, however, doesn't appear to be at all affected by the pathos of the place. She is too excited for that, running around from stump to a branch to a cricket flower, casting small spells, and throwing around drops of potion so fast you can give up trying to figure out what she's doing and just collapse on the ground to watch. After what feels like an age, she comes over to join you, looking depressed. It's not talking, she says sadly. All my research indicates that we should be able to get the glade to talk to us, to help us find the trees. You blink. Talking glades? But there's barely even stumps left. What could this place have to say? I know it can, Owen says, rubbing her eyes tiredly. Look, I've tried everything I can think of, and I'm just worn out. Would you mind trying to think of something while I have a little rest? How can you refuse? Easily, apparently, but no, observation. Okay, talking to plants. Maybe you should look around, see if there's anything or anyone that could help. Maybe there's something around here that could be of some help. It can't hurt to look, right? You get up, find out that all this searching is beginning to tire you out. You're stiff in places you didn't even know you could get stiff in. Owen lies down in the grass and looks up at the sky as you start poking around behind bushes and shrubs and small dead things which might have been plants but are now just ghosts. After 10 minutes, you're sick of poking around in the musty undergrowth. This will be the last bush you check. You poke out your head and are surprised to see a wrinkled little old creature lying in a bed of dead red roses thorns. I actually thought we lost that. So I'm starting to get worried because things are starting to become black instead of blues and greens. Hopefully it doesn't end if I screw up here. So let's try persuasion. Try to get the creature to help you. You thought the little thing was asleep, but then you notice it's staring up at you with big, greeny black eyes. It blinks. You blink. It blinks again. Who are you? You blink again, feeling this is protocol by now. After a moment of frantic thinking, you tell it all about your impoverished family, how you are one step away from death's door and need the trees of knowledge to save you. What the fuck? How your mother is crippled and your father was killed by a rampaging minotaur before becoming a beggar on the streets of Minta. Once you finish your spectacular story, the creature stares at you for a long time without blinking, then says, as if it were so it should never be so, and disappears. Whoops. I hope I didn't fuck that up. Oh, we learned about planets. That's nice. People are still trying to compete. My perception went up. I've learned about the concept of light, as in the theme, or a spell. No, it's a theme. You have added one big piece of wood to yourself. Yeah, boy. You fucking know what's wrong with me. You increased your brute strength. Very nice. Okay, and we're still doing terrible with the merit. I don't know why people even try. So let me just make sure we can continue with that adventure. We're not going to continue with it today. Is it? Oh, speaking to dead plants. There we go. So we can continue with that. So I'm actually going to look into what skills we need for that next time.